Welcome to our three-part series on explaining SaniTrend Cloud OEE. So SaniTrend Cloud is a software as a service that gives you reporting cycles for your automated cleaning system. This video series is going to go through the OEE portion, or overall equipment effectiveness, and explain each of those parameters as how it relates to the actual cleaning system and what you can do to help improve your cleaning system's efficiency. So the three parameters of OEE are availability, performance, and quality. And in each episode, we'll dig a little bit more into each of those parameters. Welcome back to episode 3 of explaining SaniTrend Cloud OEE. So today we're going to take a look at quality. In the first two episodes, as a refresher, we took a look at availability and performance. So availability was things like alarms and operator stops impacting how often my system is running during plant cleaning time. Performance, so that was the second episode. We took a look at some of the utilities that impact and slow down a natural cleaning cycle. So in that one, we lowered our water pressure, and the cycle took longer than expected because that fill sump step was a little bit longer than, say, a full water pressure available in the system. In this one, we're going to take a look at quality. So what is quality? How do we define that one? Quality, the things that impact that is pretty simple. It's mostly aborted steps, or aborted cycles, I should say, or skip steps. So this is really a red flag indicator OEE value for us. So any clean cycle that went through and successfully executed is going to have a 100% quality score. So in this case, anything but 100% is kind of a red flag indicator. Those availability and performance scores, while they're not desirable, we don't want to be dumped for alarms. We don't want to be stopped by an operator. We don't want to have a slower cleaning cycle, but those still, we can run through those and have lower scores, but we can still have a successful cleaning cycle. We ran through all the steps and all the prescribed parameters. When we hit the quality score and go below 100%, again, what I've done is usually I've probably aborted a cycle as an operator. Something went wrong. I forgot to put some parts on the rack in. My CIP valves weren't hooked up. I'm not cleaning the correct tank. Again, red flag indicator, you want to have 100% of this. If you don't have that, there's something going on. So again, we're going to run our baseline, and we're going to look at a baseline recipe of a fill, rinse, and then a drain. We're going to see those scores and those ideal or perfect scores. And then after that, we'll run another recipe. And that one, I'll abort the recipe mid-cycle, and we'll see how that impacts the quality score negatively. So let's start that baseline. Okay, so I just hit abort. Now let's take a look at how that impacted the numbers.
Okay, so here we're looking at the SaniTrend Cloud user interface, and we're looking at this time at the quality score and that recipe we ran to degrade our quality and talk about that for a minute. So we'll start with our optimal cycle here. I'm going to click on that one, and it brings up the clean cycle data of that particular cycle. So this is where we just let the system run. We did a quick sump fill, a quick rinse, and a quick drain. Let that ran, didn't do any stops or any aborts or things like that. So our availability is 100. Our performance is 70. I did check out the initial video on availability, where I talked a little bit about why the performance is 70 in this case, but the fill sump took longer than the program time, and the drain sump took longer than the program time, but that's for a particular reason. So quality, this one, again, this was 100. We didn't abort, we didn't step through, but we're going to look at now, close this, and see. I ran a couple, but we're going to look at this last one that was ran specific for this, and we see that quality is very low, right? We're at 26, and I mentioned this is a big red flag. We're going to look at this and say, someone stepped through cycles and we didn't want them stepping through cycles, or someone aborted and it's a cycle that wasn't a good cycle that we're going to have clean parts come out of. So I can take a look at the recipe steps and see that my fill sump happened, and then I rinsed for 30 seconds, and then I'm done, right? So I can dig into that a little bit more in the cycle events and see that 30 seconds in right here. So we started rinsing, and then the stop button was pressed by an operator, and then the abort button was pressed by an operator. So this cycle obviously was aborted 30 seconds in. You can go and talk to the operator or learn more about why that happened. Maybe they forgot to put some of the parts on the rack, or some other issue happened where they had to abort the system. So this one is not a cycle that would produce a clean set of parts. Obviously, you stopped on it. And I mentioned stepping through cycles would also degrade this quality score. So, if somehow, people who weren't supposed to got a hold of some login credentials where they were at that login stage where they could step through cycles, and they were doing that just to get cleaned faster in their mind, you could look at this and say, hey, someone is stepping through those rinses to go faster. We really don't want that in our production runs. That's really just a feature for setting up cycles and things like that. So our quality score obviously took a big hit. Our performance score, when quality takes a hit, performance score also usually takes a hit, right? So we didn't complete actually that second rinse cycle. We didn't complete that final cycle. So our performance, our actual time, performance time that we actually ran is very, very low. Availability took a few point hit in this case as well. And the reason for that is because we stopped, for a few seconds before we actually aborted. So this downtime hits the availability score there. So again, quality, big red flag. This is, you wouldn't have this as an approved clean cycle. You did not go through the full, hopefully validated cleaning steps that you need to for this particular recipe. Thanks for joining episode 3, Quality, of our SaniTrend Cloud OEE series. This concludes our series, but if you missed episodes 1 or 2 on availability and performance, please go back and check those out.